So first off, I want to thank you, Oscar, for
Let's go.
letting Pathfinder Productions put this on in short notice. Obviously, we've got the champ here, Antonio. It's kind of a funny thing. We met on short notice. Have you ever heard of the organization Hope for Children?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so just stars aligned, right? And we came together here in Vegas. Hope for the City is the actual organization, but they do a lot of things like Hope for Kids that I've been a part of to help out during Christmas. But when me and him got to meet each other, like we just had a quick chat, and I started hearing his story. And so what I want to go into, I think it's important that the world kind of gets to hear a little bit of the stuff he's been through, the challenges he's overcome. So let's just start off when you were a kid, because I know that's kind of where it all goes back to. But tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself. Let's go from there.
So yeah, my name is Antonio Zepeda. I'm the current WBF USA heavyweight champion. Thank you again for having me,
Yeah, for
Lucas.
sure.
Thanks for calling the favor.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, doesn't everyone's trauma essentially start as a child? We wouldn't be where we're at without it, right? So yeah, a little about me. I grew up pretty insane, to say the least. I was homeless from 4 to 8, sleeping on park benches, couch hopping, sleeping with friends at their houses and stuff like that. And then at 8, I was taken away from my mother, my two sisters, and I, put into a group home for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then we were allowed to go back to my mom. And once we went back, I didn't tell you this part. I was saving the
The
juicy
juice.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. So the first time, we were taken away, there were a lot of CPS was involved a lot due to negligence and abuse. But they didn't really care too much. Then when it got crazy is my mother actually, she tried to kill me. She tried to drown me.
What?
Yeah, so I told her I didn't tell you. I did
What?
just she tried
Yeah.
to drown me.
For why?
My mother was an addict, alcoholic, drugs.
Well, and you said that she was high on something when you were born.
Yeah, I was born. I had crack in my system. This was in '94, so I don't I don't know why anyone didn't intervene then. I digress on that.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that happened. Then I was taken away the first time. Then about 5 weeks later, I guess she did some counseling or whatever the bare minimum was, and we were allowed to go back. We went back. Round 2, she tried to kill me again, tried to drown me.
Twice?
Yeah, this is how I learned to swim. I'm a good swimmer until this day now. But, yeah, so that happened. CPS intervened yet again, except this time it was more so like, all right, we can't let this keep happening. So they took me and my sisters away. I agreed to go as long as my sisters went to a home together. Fortunately, they were put into a foster home, who they're still with till this day. They were adopted, and I was put into a group home, and I was in and out of different group homes, in and out of jail from 8 to 17. So obviously I was a young kid. I was angry. I was taken away from home. I didn't know any better, right? So
How old
yeah,
are you now?
I just turned 30.
Oh, okay.
So, long time I've been dealing with this. But I'm past it.
Yeah.
I've matured. Like I said, it made me who I am today. So yeah, from 8 to 17, I'm in and out of group homes and
Is that
in
where
and out
you
of
started
jail.
scrapping?
Yeah, so obviously I've been fighting my whole life,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively. So from 8 to 9, I was in like 6 group homes in a juvenile detention center. And finally, I found my place at this other group home on April 9th, 2004. I went to the group home I resided at for long term. And they took me in. They worked with me. I was obviously angry, and I thought I would get kicked out. I didn't. They kept me, and I was very lucky because I met a guy there by the name of Jake Boston, who got me into sports. When I was 9, I was about 5'1", 110 pounds, big kid for 9 back then.
Yeah.
He was like, "You need to play football." I was like, "I'm not playing football."
That's my size right now. Right
I
now.
was like, "I don't want to get hurt." He's like, "No, you're not going to get hurt. Let's play football." I was like, "All right." So I tried it. Loved it, right?
Yeah.
Started playing sports, was an outlet for my anger, allowed me to cope with the things I endured.
Discipline too.
Yeah, discipline, obviously. Took me under his wing and guided me, and he was the only sense of structure I had. And we still talk to this day. I actually just saw him a few weeks ago in
Nice.
Phoenix. So obviously I still make terrible decisions, right? I'm young.
How old were you at this time?
I was 9 when we first met, 9.
Yeah.
And like I said, I started playing football, baseball. I started playing basketball, just anything that could help me stay out of trouble, right? Discipline, structure. And then, things they were going as good as they could have for the situation I was in. I was still fighting. I was still disrespectful. But what do you expect when you get pulled from the environment
Right.
you're used to? And I was learning, but I was still very hard-headed and didn't really care about anything. You couldn't tell me anything, but that's pretty much every kid, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, things are going good. I started school in third grade. First time I ever went to school was third grade.
Oh, no
I
way.
didn't start school until third grade because, and I was like, Mom, I didn't go to school, right? And, I left this. I never met my father. My father went to prison for murder when I was 3 months old.
Oh,
Wow.
Never met him. Don't know
Dude.
anything about him. So yeah, fast forward, 7th grade, I get kicked out of my school for fighting. I get into a fight, they kick me out. Mind you, I've been going to the school since third grade. So they know me very well. They know the situation. But enough is enough, right? You
Yeah.
only get so many chances. So they kick me out, and I'm like, wow, like this is bullshit. But it's my
Yeah.
fault, but I don't think that when I'm a kid.
Yeah.
They let me come back for 8th grade. I come back 8th grade, finish top of my class, and go on to high school. I ended up going to the high school I went to. I started varsity quarterback as a freshman, and it was most people, oh, it's amazing. It was a journey.
Yeah.
No one liked me. They booed me, and it's because I was very cocky, very arrogant.
Yeah.
This is in football?
This is in football, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I played everything: football, basketball, and baseball throughout high school. Up until my junior year, I didn't play basketball. So yeah, so we fast forward to my junior year. I didn't like our coach.
In football?
In basketball.
Oh, okay.
He was, looking back, obviously he was instilling discipline and stuff, but when you're 16 years old,
Yeah.
you're like, yo, dude, like this is
Shout out for
he's a good dude. He's a good guy. I still have him on Facebook, and but when I'm 16 and I think I'm the hottest thing on the block.
Yeah.
He had us run so much, and I was like, I'm not doing this. So my junior year, I decided I'm not playing basketball. I played football, finished with a great year. Then I usually transition straight to basketball, to baseball, because I'm not playing basketball. Worst decision I made. I had so much free time, so I started doing.
Yeah,
started
getting
doing
into dumb stuff.
Oh, man.
So that's when I start essentially the life of crime that I lived for, a very short period of time. So I ended up getting arrested my junior. Well, first, before all that, I broke into my high school with a kid in the group home. And, we vandalized the building we broke into. We stole a bunch of stuff. And the school found out about it, but they had no idea it was me.
Oh, what?
They didn't even think it was me. As a matter of fact, they would call me to help with them because they know people would tell me stuff. So mind you, I'm playing like devil's advocate.
Yeah.
It's me who did what happened. And finally, the kid who I did it with, he ended up confessing to me. Guilty conscience, maybe, but they found out and like, oh, well, obviously consequences. So they kicked me out. So I get kicked out of my high school. Mind you, I'm at the point I'm getting scholarships for football.
Oh,
Like,
man.
my career's taking off, right? They kicked me out. The group home I'm in, they kicked me out. I end up, then a few weeks later, actually before they kicked me out, let me go back a little bit. That happens. The group home is kind of working with me, and they're like, why would you do that? You gotta, like, we're gonna get through. I'm like, okay. I end up, robbing some houses, and I get arrested.
With the same dude?
Different dude. A kid I've known since third grade. One of my first friends I ever had. We actually still talk to this day. He's completely rehabilitated. He served his time. He's family man now, like completely different guy, But again, we were 16, 17 years old. Things were a lot different. And this is the environment I was predicated. This is all I knew. Lie, steal,
Yeah.
cheat. Like that's all I knew.
Did you grow up here in Vegas?
I'm
Or?
from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all this is happening
This,
in
yeah, all
Phoenix.
of Phoenix. So this is all I know, right? Because like I said, this is what I'm,
Yeah.
this is what I know. So I don't think it's wrong at the time.
Okay.
So I ended up getting arrested, going to jail. Just got kicked out of my high school. My group home decided, yeah, we don't want him anymore.
Dang.
Was it juvie or jail at that time?
It was juvie because I was,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
16 years old. So I go to a juvenile detention center, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll get out, I'll go back to the group home because, they've never given up on me. Mind you, I've done a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
My caseworker comes to visit me. She's like, yeah, they're not taking you back. And at this point, I'm like, that's when I know shit is real.
Yeah.
Because I was like, everything I've been through with them, all the fights, all the stealing, all the,
Yeah.
just everything. And this is like, they've drawn the line. They're putting their foot down. They don't want me back. I just got kicked out of my high school. I am officially fucked.
Yeah.
I lost everything.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in jail in juvie for a few weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm freaking out. And
Yeah.
I'm finally, coming to the realization
Yeah.
You're blowing it.
that all the chances I've been afforded are done.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling my football coach who took over a year and a half prior. And I said, hey, listen, when you first came to coach, you told me if I ever needed you, that you would be there for me. And that there was a possibility you would take me in to live with you to get me out of the environment that I'm in so I can focus on school and football. I'm calling you to be a Manny Award. He's like, give me a few days. A week later, he calls me back. Well, I call him because he couldn't call me. He spoke with his family, spoke with everyone, administration, and decides, I'll take you in. I'll foster you.
Wow.
I said, all right. So I ended up getting out of just juvenile detention center. I go to another group home for 5 weeks with the ankle monitor on. And I do, I stay there and finally he calls and they're like, all right, let's go. They take me in, I move in with him. I have my own room. First time in my life I have my own room. He takes me in, his wife, his 2 kids. And
Wow.
very fortunate, right? Like
Yeah,
lucky.
that's massive.
Very huge blessing. And he's like, listen, these are the steps you need to take to redeem yourself. These are the steps you need to take to get to where we know you can get.
Yeah.
My high school takes me back. And mind you, this is all on the basis that I'm living with him and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, right? One mess up, they don't
Yeah.
care. So my senior year, they let me come back. But I have to maintain a 3.5 or higher. I cannot get sent to the principal's office one time. I can't get in any trouble, and I have to play sports year-round. So, okay, deal. So I played football, had a phenomenal year. Finished number 1 tight end, number 1 DN in the state. Finished high school with straight A's, 4.0, top of my class. Played basketball, I just did that for fun and for footwork. Baseball was actually my first love. A lot of people don't know that. I could have been drafted out of high school. I had scouts at all my games my senior year. My junior year, when I got kicked out of high school, there was this game where they lost 35-0. It looked like a football score.
In baseball?
In baseball.
Oh, dang.
So I'm like, wow, like, mind you, this school, I found out they were the defending state champs in their division. So my senior year, we had the first game of the year. And I'm like, 35-0 is supposed to be good. It's a 2-2 ball game going into the 6th inning. I pitched the whole game. I have
Wow.
11 strikeouts.
Oh, you were a pitcher?
Yeah, I pitched. Yeah.
Wow.
I have 11 strikeouts. Things are just going about as good as they can, right?
Yeah.
We get to the top of the 6th inning, 2-2 ball game. We come up to bat, and we don't get any runs. So we go into the bottom of the 6th, 2-2. And I'll never forget it. It's so vivid in my memory. First batter, I walk. So that was a run on first. Second batter, I strike out. This is where things take a turn. Third batter, pop up to right field. And our right fielder blocks like he did all year, gets under it, drops it.
Oh, no.
Runner from first tags to second. He gets up to throw the ball, slips and falls. It's from a movie. I'm not even exaggerating. So another kid from second advances to third. So I was 1 out with a runner on first and second. I strike out the next batter, walk the next one. So now I have bases loaded. And, 2 outs. And I get a full count. And next thing you know, the guy hits a pop-up to right field again. I'm like, oh, he'll make up for it. Drops it again, and they score. And we end up losing 3-2. Walk off, error, drop, whatever you want to call it. And then things start picking up for me there, right?
Yeah.
These scores like, wait, they beat you 35-0 last year. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So then I started getting recognition for baseball. And then after that, every game I would pitch, I had scouts there. We ended up playing Chaparral at one of the stadiums out in Scottsdale, and I had the Yankees were there, the White Sox, the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, and I'm pitching and I'm doing my thing, right?
Yeah.
And
But that's what's interesting about athletes, though. Like you're so versed in so many different sports, like,
Yeah.
and you're like casually nonchalant. I don't know about you, Oscar. Did you grow up playing sports or anything?
No,
like
I
that?
used to skateboard and ride dirt bikes.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just like to hear when there's like a pro athlete. It's like you could have played any damn
Yeah.
game, bro.
Yeah, why didn't you
Like,
go to baseball?
so that's what I'm getting to, right? So I'm pitching and I'm doing what I can do for my team. Unfortunately, my team was very bad. We are terrible. Matter of fact, the high school I went to, we weren't good at it. It was just all inner city kids, and
Yeah.
you can't really compete with it's like Gorman here, right? Like,
Right.
you can't compete with Gorman when you're in an inner city school. So, long story short, I pitched, and the scouts tell me verbatim, like, listen, we like what we see. I was throwing 96 miles per hour in high school. I had a
Jeez.
12 to 6 curveball. They're like, but here's the thing: we don't know how you work in a pickle because your team doesn't help you out, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you work when you have runners on first and third? Like, how do you do, right? We
Yeah.
can't tell because your team isn't helping you out.
Yeah.
But we love what we see from your velocity and stuff. So that alone is going to get me in the door. My senior
Yeah.
year, I was like, I said I was 6'6" back then. I was like 6'4", but I was 250 pounds.
Damn.
Like I was a big kid, so that alone was gonna open up plenty of doors, right?
Yeah.
Then my coach ended up pitching me back to back on a Tuesday and a Thursday, back to back games. My arm was a noodle, and that's when I decided, I already had a scholarship for football that I was committed to, so I walked away from baseball because I didn't want to take the chance of hurting myself
With
on
baseball.
something that wasn't a
Yeah.
guarantee when I already had a scholarship, right? So
Interesting.
I was like, I'm not gonna take that chance. And also, I didn't have anyone in my corner telling me play baseball. It's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get hurt as much in football. And I was 18. I was like, no, football. Women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, obviously that was like a terrible decision. But
Well, but I think there's kind of an odd silver lining because obviously if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have the transition into
Yes.
boxing.
everything happens for a reason,
Right.
So
That belt doesn't exist without this
100%.
moment.
Who knows? And my wife and kids wouldn't exist, right? I
Right.
mean, maybe they would with someone else, but what I have right now wouldn't
Right.
be. So, like I said, everything happens for a reason. So, I ended up leaving for college here at UNLV on a full-ride scholarship. Things are going good. I had my first semester of a 3.5. February 13th, 2014. Well, let's go back to the 12th. I get a call from the guy who runs our compliance. Hey, come to our office. We need to talk about this fight that happened at a party last week. And I was like, well, I wasn't there. I don't go out. I just kind of say to myself. He was like, oh, well, someone said you were there. I was like, well, I'm telling you, I wasn't. I actually have an alibi. I could tell you where I was at. Like, I actually have pictures. I wasn't there. He was like, well, just come in. Let's clear the air. Come in tomorrow at 7 a.m. I said, okay, cool. We had workouts at 6 a.m. This is February 13th, 2014. 7 a.m. I go to his office. And as soon as I walk in, I see 3 men in suits and 2 police officers.
What?
And I'm looking and I'm like, dang,
This
fight.
ain't about a school
Well,
fight.
at first, I'm like, the fight must have been really serious. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
So I sit down and I'm just waiting for them to start speaking to me. And I noticed one of the, which I now realize were detectives, has a packet of paper about this thick. And he turns it, and the first thing I see is my Facebook profile picture. So I was like, what the heck? Am I like really that? They really want to question me?
It's interrogate.
So the detective turns and goes, hello, I'm such and such. He goes, are you Antonio Zepeda? I was like, yeah, I am. How can I help you? What's going on? He goes, you're under arrest. I was like, what? He goes, you're under arrest. You have a warrant for your arrest out in Arizona. I'm like, what? No way. So my first thought was, is it from a traffic ticket?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And then I was like, well, what am I being arrested for? And he says the date, November 22nd, 2011. As soon as he said that date, I said, I plead the fifth. I don't want to speak until I have an attorney present.
Because you knew it was.
As soon as he knew the date, I knew exactly what it was. So on that date, November 22nd, 2011, this is still my junior year prior to, all the good stuff that happened.
Yeah.
A friend of mine at the time, we knocked on the, we were robbing houses, and we knocked on a door, and we were going to just rob the house. And when we knocked, no one was there. So we break in through the back and, do what we did. But turns out there was someone there, and it was an older gentleman. He was asleep. So, I panicked, punched him, knocked him out, and I was like, hey, we got to go. Let's leave. Well, the people with decided, no, we came here for a reason. They tied the man up. So yeah, man, so it was bad. So long story short, it became a residential burglary, which
And assault.
yeah,
right?
which is like you can get out of that. You can get that reduced to a straight up armed robbery,
And
assault with a
kidnapping.
deadly weapon, kidnapping.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting in a police chase.
What?
Yeah,
Dude.
we got away, and we didn't hear anything about it, right? So I thought we were in the clear. Then the kid who I told you who I still talk to this day, because he ended up getting arrested
For something else.
for some. Well, so after I left, he continued that life. He was still robbing houses. He ended up getting arrested for burglary, 2 DUIs, and in Phoenix they take DUI very, very serious.
Yeah.
They dropped his burglary charge, and just ran him concurrent on his DUI, and he did like 5 years.
Holy
He
shit.
did a few of those years in Tent City, which if you know anything about Tent City, it's not up anymore. It's like one of the worst jails in America. It's literally in the desert, and your cell is a tent, no AC. You're just on a cot. Like it's bad. That no longer exists. But he ended up doing that, and
It's crazy to think that day
Yeah.
existed in
Right,
our
like, it's
lifetime.
insane,
That's
right?
wild.
so I ended up getting arrested. And when they said the date, I knew exactly what it was. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to speak on it. So I have a bench warrant for extradition from Phoenix. I'm in Vegas, right?
What's extradition?
To
Extradition
take
means
him out of
yeah,
Vegas to
they're
go to Phoenix.
gonna hold me here until they come and get me from Arizona. So
Oh, what?
usually on an extradition warrant, they can hold you for up to 30 days and then they'll release you. So I'm sitting in jail now in the middle of my second semester of college
Ah, dude.
He's on a scholarship
on a
for
full-ride scholarship.
UNLV.
I'm freaking out. I'm like, they're gonna get rid of me. Everything that I
Been
put
working
behind
towards.
me
Yeah.
is all gonna come to an end for something that I did before I left for
When you were
before-
a juvenile, right?
Yeah,
So
I was. So they waited till I was 17 to charge me as an adult.
uh,
So they charged me as an adult, but they didn't know where I was at. All the addresses on file in Phoenix, I
yeah.
didn't live there anymore. So it took about 6-7 months. They found out I was gone in college. They called the sheriff over here. Hey, we have a bench warrant out for such and such. Like, oh yeah, okay. So they called the university, and then they just all they work together.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So now I'm in jail in Vegas. I'm in Clark and CDC. What is it? CCDC.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my life's over. What am I gonna do? I walk in after I was in the holding cell for about 50 hours, and then they finally held, fingerprinted me and everything, and then they got me a cot. I come up, and I'll never forget this guy's name. We call him Memphis, but his name's Rodrigo. He sees me, and right away recognizes me. Turns out he's a sports fanatic. Like, he follows all the sports, especially college. And he's like, yeah, you play football for UNLV? And like, he was super nice dude. He's like, anything you need, I got you.
He was like an officer, or
No, he was an
just an
inmate.
inmate.
He was
Oh,
an
okay.
inmate. When my luck, when I get arrested, fucking commissary is out for a month, so I can't get any commissary. So I'm like, but the guy,
My luck.
yeah, he's super nice. Like, whatever you need. So cookies, chips, like, just actually was like super nice. And I'm like, hey, bro, like, what do you expect in return? I'm not giving you anything. He's like, no, don't worry about it, bro. He's like, I know who you are. And sure enough, there's an article in the paper about me getting arrested. And he's like, bro, don't worry about it. And apparently, like, people respected him because, no one messed with me. I mean, I was the biggest one in there, but,
Yeah.
you know how this stuff is. And so I'm sitting there, and my tight ends position coach comes to visit me, Coach Finistine. He goes, listen, we talked. As long as you can guarantee us and promise us that what you got arrested for didn't happen while you were with us at the university, we're not going to pull your scholarship.
Oh,
We're gonna
Yeah.
stick by your side, whatever you need. And I was like, "Really?" So obviously that's freaking
Yeah.
breath of
Well, and
fresh
correct
air,
me if
right?
I'm wrong. It was UNLV. All the other scholarships that you had around the nation had been pulled.
Yeah, so
UNLV kind of held.
When I got
had your back.
arrested in my high school year, my junior year, I was originally committed to play football at ASU to play
Oh.
defensive end. They rescinded their scholarship. And then
Yeah.
it just became a domino effect.
Right.
They pulled everyone I was talking to. They didn't care. Oregon State, Oregon, Michigan, like every school, they just like, yeah, no, we don't. They wouldn't touch for a 10-foot pole,
Yeah.
which I understand, right?
Right.
I didn't understand at the
UNLV
time
kinda-
because that was already put behind me. So I had nothing, right? So I'm starting over. UNLV was like Coach Hawk, who was the head coach at the time. He goes, listen, we need some thugs on our program. That's what he said verbatim. He's like, we need that. And obviously we know about what happened, but that was your junior year. As long as you aren't doing that anymore and you
Yeah.
can promise us you're going to be on the up and up and give us, hard work and give us your all, we're going to give you a scholarship. And that meant more to me than anything because they were giving me the opportunity to pursue an education, to pursue my career, because I wanted to go to the NFL. Like, I was my goal since I was a kid, right? So I committed to them. Other schools called me back. I was like, nah, I'm going to UNLV.
Yeah.
UNLV, why? They suck. And I mean, mind you, they were terrible.
Yeah.
But I was like, they were loyal. They knew about everything, and they still were like, no, we're going to give you a scholarship. And that
Yeah.
meant more to me
We'll
than anything
forgive
else.
you for.
Yes, and that meant more
Promise.
to me than anything.
Yeah.
So I committed here, and then I go to jail, and they're like, yeah, we'll work with you as long as it didn't happen while you're with us. I was like, no, this is from my junior year. This is just another thing that happened that you guys already knew about. Like, okay. So, mind you, I told you they could hold you for 30 days.
Yeah.
So Tina Kunza Murphy, who was our AD at the time, makes a few calls. She calls the sheriff, Lombardo, who was our sheriff at the time, and she's like, hey, look, one of our student athletes is in jail. What can you do? So he looks into it, and he's like, all right. So he makes a call to the sheriff in Arizona, in Phoenix. Hey, we're holding, one of the guys you have a warrant for, but if you're not here in 2 weeks, we're going to release instead of the mandatory 30 days maximum. 2 days later, I'm sitting there and I hear, Antonio, Zepeda, roll up. So roll up means,
Yeah.
roll your mattress up, your cot, and you're leaving. Well, you could either be in transfer or being released, who knows. So I start to get up, and they're like, "Oh no, not you. It's the other Zepeda." There was another Zepeda in there, and in my head, I was like, "It's not him. This guy is here for a double homicide,
Yeah.
and he's here legally." Like he was telling me, he's like, "I'm getting deported. Like I don't
Yeah.
care." He's like, "I'm just waiting for them to deport me." So they end up rolling him up. So I sat there for another 2 hours, and I was like, "There's no way this guy's gonna
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double homicide.
and even the guy Memphis, and the other guy who was in my cell, he was like, "No, that has to be an error because there's no way this guy's getting released." Sure enough, 2 hours later, Zepeda, roll up. There was an error in there. I thought it was him, so they ended up letting me go. I get extradited back to Phoenix. We fly
Oh,
to
dang.
Arizona. I go to jail in Arizona, and I sit out there in jail for about a month, and I lost like 20 pounds because the food was just.
Yeah.
Fun fact is, Phoenix, I don't know about now, but in 2014, cost 11 cents to feed an inmate a
That's
day.
crazy.
Yeah. So they gave me the food.
Whoa,
It was just,
what was it?
it was literally, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, if you threw up on a plate and gave it to me, that's what it looked like. It was just slop. It was the worst thing I ever, like, I could not eat. And I would just survive off what they gave us for breakfast. There was 2 pieces of hard bread, a pack of peanut butter, an orange, or some milk. And I would eat that. And then,
Damn, bro.
yeah, and then,
That's so
and
wild.
it was a shit show, right? So finally, and I had no bail, so I'm more than likely going to sit here
Yeah.
until trial. Oh, and mind you, I'm very familiar with legal because I actually have my degree in criminal justice. But back to the story, right? So I'm like, I'm going to sit here, and who knows how long that's going to be? It could be months, it could be a year. Finally, I get a bail. They release a $5,000 bail. I pay the 510%. They release me. I come back to Vegas. And over the next few months, I'm traveling from Vegas to Phoenix for court. And this prosecution, they kept asking for continuances, which I thought was very weird considering the crime occurred in 2011.
Yeah,
They
you
arrested me
either
in
have enough
2014.
shit or you don't.
Yeah. So either you have a case or you don't. Like, what are we doing here? So I'm like, all right, am I going to get a plea? And they don't want to offer me a plea. I'm facing 2.5 years to 8 years in prison.
What?
They don't want to plea me out, which I thought was just asinine, like no plea for something that happened so
Right.
long ago. Turns out the guy who we, did the crime against was an ex-police chief. So they were very, very determined to like.
Oh,
They
interesting.
wanted to throw the book at me.
Mm.
Understandable, right? So I'm like, wow, I have 2 defense attorneys who are government appointed, public
Yeah.
defenders, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
One
They
of them
are.
is so busy, she doesn't even remember my name. The other one is hitting on me the entire time. Like, younger blonde chick, wasn't cute, but just hitting on me nonstop. It came to the point I said, listen, you get me off this case.
Whatever you want.
I'm yours. Hey, whatever you want, I'm yours. And she's like, all right, I'll get you off the case. And I'm like, no, wait, no one doesn't even remember my name. And public defenders have so many cases they're dealing
Right.
with. And after
She remembered.
at that point, though, I thought they had a concrete case until they continued to ask for continuances. We go into our 3rd continuous, and I was like, yo, this
They
is
got
nonsense.
nothing.
Like,
Yeah.
How much time has it been now?
about almost 2 months.
Oh,
No,
okay.
longer. Let's see. I got arrested in February. I went to court in what? Mid-May.
Dang.
So a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what?
In 3 months, they asked for almost 3
They asked for
continuances.
2, and then they were asking for a 3rd one.
Wow.
And my attorney at the time was like, so she's like, blah, blah, blah. And I just spoke up. I was like, this is nonsense. Like, usually, continuances are for the defense side because they're trying to,
Yes.
the defense, but the prosecution.
You either have something or you
this
don't.
was 2.5 years ago. What are we doing here? So the judge is like, all right, no more continuances. Your court is set for whatever, let's say June. I think it was June. So from February 13th to June, months, right? 4 months, we finally get to see a judge. I'm freaking out because this is it, right? This is, I'm going to
your
see
life.
the executioner now. This
Right.
is the moment I've been waiting for, and I was praying and hoping. And mind you, through all this, my faith never deterred. Like, I've been very big on my faith my entire life. I was introduced to God at 9, and it got me through a lot of everything I've been through. Actually, like everything I've been through, it got me through. So I'm praying nonstop, like, please do not let me go to jail. I'm not living that life anymore. And I get into the courtroom, and I walk in, and the judge sees me, and the first thing he says is, "Oh, you're a big guy, aren't you?" As soon as he says that, I know I have a chance. I'm like, all right. I go, yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. And then he looks at the paperwork, and he was like, all right, you're here for armed robbery. And he goes, he defers to the prosecution. He goes, any plea? Like, no plea. And the look on his face, he looked befuddled, like, no plea, like what? And when I saw his face, I was like, oh, I'm gonna beat this. Like I knew, I just knew.
Yeah.
So he asked the prosecution, why don't you guys want to give him a plea? And then, they say why. And so he looks at my paperwork. And at the time, I had 5 letters of recommendation from Tina Kunze Murphy, who was our athletic director at the time, my position coach, her head coach, my academic advisor, and Sheriff Joe Lombardo. They
Oh,
all
that's
wrote
a big
letters
one,
on
yeah.
my behalf stating we knew about the stuff he did when he was in high school. We still gave him a chance because we knew we put that behind him. He finished with straight A's in high school. He has a 3.5 at our university. He's helping out in the community. And he's rehabilitated, which
Yeah.
is what you want to see in a judicial system. So many would think, right? Not
Yeah.
the case. So the judge is reading these and he looks at the prosecution and he was like, it's a travesty. You guys don't want to give this guy a plea and essentially keep him out of jail. And he was like, you know what? This is my courtroom, and what I see fit is I'm not going to send this young man to jail, considering he's already done a month, 2 months, however long, and you guys are dragging him here back and forth, and he's missing school. I have to drop all my classes.
Yeah.
That second semester, right? He was like, so I'm going to give him a year and a half of probation
Let's go.
and restitution. And the prosecution is just
Pissed.
irate. No, and he's like, listen, this is my courtroom. What I say goes. And he slams his gavel. Boom.
Let's go.
Case
Dude.
adjourned. And I'm sitting there like, I thought I was dreaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Facing 2.5 to 8 years in prison.
Yeah.
I got a year and a half probation.
Right.
Let's go.
Talk about this is more than a second chance. This is
Right.
infinite
Right.
chance. Like
Yeah.
I was blessed.
Divine intervention,
Right.
bro.
So I'm like, wow. Thank you, Your Honor. I promise you won't regret this. He was like, I hope to see you on the big screen someday and all your dreams come true. I found out this judge is on the edge. He was about to retire in 3 months.
Yeah.
He gave out lenient sentences to everyone. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Right.
If
Right.
somehow he sees this, if you're still with us, because he was an older gentleman, thank you. I wouldn't be here if you didn't send me to prison, right?
Yeah.
So I go back to college, and we create a plan to help me get through, all these drop classes and stuff. And I ended up finishing college. I graduated in May of 2017 with like a 3.8. I got a degree in criminal justice, and I graduated.
Let's go.
So I go from homeless from 4 to 8, in and out of group homes, in and out of jail, to I'm now a college graduate. Statistically, it's about 84%, 85 of the kids who grew up how I did end up homeless, in prison, or dead. You don't get to where I got to. And I got to where I got to because 1, my faith.
Yeah.
2, I never gave up. And 3, I got lucky. And I say lucky because now, I'm older, I'm more mature. I have my degree in criminal justice. I've seen my fair share of, bullshit. I'm a good looking white man who can speak well. I'm intelligent. I'm college educated. That alone opens up doors that other people aren't privileged to.
Yeah.
And, people who grew up how I did, statistically, they're Black, Mexican, they're minorities. So the fact that I'm a white, even though I'm actually Hispanic, like my mom is from Mexico, but I don't look it, right? I mean, you see my name, Antonio Zepeda, like that's so Mexican, right? But I don't look the part. I look like just a white guy, especially when I have a suit on and stuff like that.
I look like a white guy.
Yeah. So because of that, they call it the complexion for protection. I was given more opportunities than other people. If I was just a Black kid or Mexican kid, or if that judge happened to look at me as a Latino because of my name instead of a white dude, I would have went to prison, 100%, without a doubt. I believe that. So, after I graduated college, I had 1 more year football. I blew my knee out.
No.
Yeah, I tore my MCL meniscus, shattered my tibia. Like it was bad. I rehabbed, and 5 weeks later, I got cleared to play. Dude, my coach was like, "You're playing D tackle." Mind you, I played D, and I said, "I'm not playing D tackle."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, we need you to play D tackle." I said, "Get drawn." There's no way I can play D tackle. I have 1.5 legs. If I get double teamed by a guard and tackle and my leg gives out, I'm gonna get folded in half, and it's gonna be bad. He's like, "Well, you need to play D tackle." I said, "Okay."
Boxing it is.
So it was a Tuesday morning. We were playing Air Force that week. I'll never forget. The entire team, they go to the field, and I'm the only one left in the locker, and I'm sitting there contemplating my future. I've been playing football since I was 9 years old. I'm 22 at the time, so 13 years. Do I still love this? No, I don't. Every day I wake up, I just look at this like the job. I don't
Yeah.
love it anymore. I already have my degree. I already got what I
Yeah.
came here for.
Right.
And at that very moment, I decided I'm done. Like I don't love it anymore, and I'm no longer passionate. It's not fun. I just walked away from the sport.
You
Sport.
didn't even go in on
Then
the
even though
field.
I literally just left. Mind you, this is a sport I've been playing since I was a kid. This is the sport that single-handedly got me out of every bad situation I was in. Right, like football saved my life.
Yeah.
Were you already doing boxing before?
No, I
at all?
wasn't.
At
So
all.
I actually had a background in martial arts. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 8 years when I was a kid.
Interesting.
Out in Phoenix, and so I walked away from football, and
So what you're saying is you got ground game too?
and I want to say I do now because I haven't done it since
Yeah.
2013. It's been a
Yeah.
long time. So yeah, I walk away from football, and I go home, and I just kind of fall into like a funk, right? Like, what am I gonna do with my life? I'm 22. I'm still big.
You already at your bachelor by that time?
Yeah, I already had my degree. I got my degree in May of that year. I walked away in September of that year. No, October of that year. Sorry. And so now I'm just like contemplating what am I going to do with my life.
Yeah.
I'm still big. I'm still athletic. I want to still capitalize on that before I get older and my athleticism fades, and I can then rely on my intelligence and my degree. So like, what do I want to do? I want to fight. I've been fighting my whole life.
Right.
I'm going to do UFC. So I called Coach Sanchez, who was then my head coach, because he's really good friends with the Fertitas and Dana White. I go, hey, I want to fight. I know things didn't end well with us. I just, because when I quit, mind you, I blocked everyone's number. Like I did it terribly, and
Yeah.
I just walked away, and I called him months later. I said, listen, I know things didn't end well, and I apologize for everything that transpired. It was my fault. I just was in a very dark place. He's like, man, don't worry about it. How are you? What can I do for you? He's asking, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Mind you, I left this man's program
Yeah.
with no contact. And I was like, listen, man, I want to fight. I want to do UFC. He's like, okay, I'll set up the meeting. I said, okay. Before the meeting ever happened, my father-in-law now, who, I've been dating this woman. Well, we're engaged now, but we started dating. We started talking in 2016. So it's now 2017. Her dad was like, you want to fight? I'll introduce you to Floyd Mayweather. And you could box. I'm like, I'm not boxing. What the hell? I was like, that's too one-dimensional, man. Like, it's just your hands. I'd rather kick, tackle you, elbow you, and, knee you. He was like, just let me make the introduction and see what happens. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it, whatever. They introduced me to Floyd.
Young Floyd or old Floyd?
No, young Floyd, Mayweather Jr. And Floyd's, he meets, he looks at me, we talk for like 10 minutes, and he goes, listen, I don't know anything about you. I don't know you from a box of rocks. He's like, but you're big, you're white, and you're good looking. You want to make a lot of money? Come box. I said, sold. I'll be there. You know, with UFC, they don't pay their fighters.
Yeah.
And, you don't really have the opportunity to have sponsors and endorsements. So it's hard to make money. And in boxing, it's just the complete opposite. But it's on the opposite side of the spectrum. You make more in sponsors than you do from your fight, right?
Yeah.
So I said, all right, deal. 2 days later, I'm in the gym and I'm boxing. And things are going good, and I'm training, and everyone wants to spar me because I'm the biggest guy. I'm like, yo, what the hell? I don't even
know how to box.
I don't know what's going on. Last time I ever sparred, I tried to kick the dude. I don't have the video anymore because I got a new phone, but I did. He threw a punch, and I like slipped. I picked up my right leg to kick him, and my trainer was like, yo. I was like, oh, my bad. Old habits die.
Yeah. Imagine it connected. You knocked him out, bro.
I'm so sorry. So yeah, I was set to have my pro debut like mid-March of 2020. COVID hits.
Oh yeah.
The world gets shut down. I was like, man, what the hell? I was supposed to have my pro debut. So I don't do anything the entire year of COVID. I was like,
You're training?
I was training, but no fights, obviously.
Yeah.
And then find out that my fiance, my girlfriend at the time, is pregnant. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
Is this still 2017 or 2020? Sorry,
this is 2020.
COVID.
Yeah. We've been, imagine we have a house. We bought a house and everything. And so I was like, oh, you're pregnant? All right, I got to start taking this shit serious. So I started training. My son is born November of 2020. I have my pro debut January of 2021. Won by knockout. Then I have a few more fights. I become 3-0, 3 knockouts, 4-0, 4 knockouts. Things are going good.
Yeah.
Then we fast forward to my 7th pro fight. I was 6-0, 6 knockouts. Things are just going great. I was dealing with some knee issues that, were still lingering from college because I didn't take care of it because I was young. And I was like, I want to heal because I used to heal like extremely quick, right? Well, now it's lingering years later. And I'm like, oh, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. So I fight in Phoenix, my hometown. And, maybe I was caught up in fighting my hometown. I was caught up in the hype. Who knows who knows? I don't know. I ended up fighting this guy who, if I fought him right now, I'd beat him very easily. Um, he came to the fight with a style I've never, mind you, I don't have experience. I only had 3 amateur fights.
Yeah.
So he comes and he's a small dude and he just kept grabbing me and getting on the inside. I didn't know what to do. So I panicked. And I'm like not knowing what to do. Long story short, I ended up losing the fight by split decision. And I was like, whatever. It didn't really affect me because I'm used to losing, right? Like I've been taking L's my entire life.
Yeah.
Whether it was my high school or just in life, right? Whatever, it's a loss. Not worried about it. Bounce back. I get back in the gym. This was in August of 2023. So I get back in the gym. Then come February of 2024, Super Bowl weekend, Teofimo Lopez, good friend of mine, he puts me on his undercard at the Mandalay Bay at the Michelob Ultra Arena. He was like, hey, I want you to fight on my card. Let's get a bounce back from what happened. I was like, hell yeah, bro, let's do it. To put me up against this guy and, again, I'll fight this guy right now. I'll knock this guy out easily. And first round, hurt my knee. The belt, I'm not even exaggerating, first 20 seconds. We come out, I come to the middle of the ring. He doesn't really make any moves, so I keep coming towards him. I throw a right hand. As soon as I threw the right hand, I felt it.
Which knee?
It was my left knee. Same knee I blew in college. I felt it right away, and I was like, oh, whatever. I'll be okay. Finish the first round, go to the corner, and the ref was like, hey, you okay? I was like, yeah, why? He goes, I saw you moving funny. And mind you, the refs here know me because some of them ref my sparring. They come to the gym, they know me. So the ref knew something was up. I was like, no, I'm fine. He goes, are you sure? I go, yeah. He goes, okay. We get to the second round. My knee's hurting, but I'm like, oh, whatever. The adrenaline's going to kick in and I'll be okay. We get to the second round and things are not going good. My knee is just on fire. And I'm like, dude, what the heck? Like, I've had knee issues, but in camp, nothing crazy. So I'm like, something's not right. So we finish the second round and the ref calls up and he's like, hey, like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, man. Like, let me fight. And then I tell my trainer, I was like, hey, man, something's wrong, man. I was like, seriously, like, oh, there's no way I can go 6 rounds. Like, something's not right. And he was like, just go out there. He's like, you got to knock him out this round then. I was like, all right. So I go out there, third round, and I'm throwing power shots, but I can't turn on anything because I can't do anything. My knee's messed up. So I was just throwing, but in a dream when you throw a punch, just like so slow.
Yeah, you're like,
that's what it felt like. Like I was in a dream. So we ended up clinching, and when we clinched, he gave me a shoulder, and when he did my knee, I kind of
tweaked,
extended. I took a knee because my knee kind of locked on me. So in my head, my thought process is all right, if I take this knee, I'll buy myself 8 seconds, and by the time I get up, my knee will unlock. That wasn't the case. I get up, and my knee is just I can barely move, and I'm pushing. And I was like, all right, so I throw a few shots, and there was a 30-second window where this guy, he didn't even land one punch on me. We clinch, and then if you watch boxing, when the refs say break, they kind of give you that nudge. Well, the ref did that. He pushed me. I took one step back to my right leg, and when I took my left leg, done.
You fell down?
I took a knee. And I told the ref, I was like, I'm done. I can't continue. Stops the fight.
Dang.
I ended up losing the fight by TKO, which is bullshit, but whatever, it is what it is. I go back to the dressing room. My knee is just swollen. And I'm like, yo, I'm thinking, did I tear my ACL? Like, what's going on? Because I've hurt my knee in camp, and I pushed through, and my knee is just fat. So I throw ice on it right away. 2 weeks later, I ended up getting surgery, found out. So I tore my MCL, my meniscus, which I've torn in the past. I tore my PCL. Never torn that.
Yeah.
And that's your weight-bearing ligament. I was 299 pounds on the day of the fight. And I move a lot when I box. That's,
part of boxing.
But for a heavyweight, I move a lot. I'm very light on my toes, shadow football. So all that weight and I'm bouncing around on my toes, my knee just gave out. Jeez. So I got surgery 2 weeks later, rehabilitated. I did rehab for 12 weeks, hired this guy, Nick, and he worked on my body. And my knee to this day is amazing. I have no issues anymore.
Yeah, that's the surprising part for me.
Man, more than surprising. That's shocking. But the guy, Nick, he's amazing, man. Shout out Nick. He worked on my fiance. She does CrossFit. And she was like, man, this guy, Nick, he's the best. I was like, man, I'm not letting a guy work on my body. I was like, when I get massages, I like women massage me, I just was weird like that. So she's like, no, you need to work with this guy, Nick. Like, I promise you, he's amazing. I was like, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's do it. So I call him. He's like, yeah, I got you. Dude, I tell you, this guy's a miracle worker.
Yeah.
I still working on to this day.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
I worked with him from the latter part of 2024 up until still till this day. And I get a call randomly. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. So I'm on a back-to-back. I lose 2 fights in a row. The second one flew, got hurt. First one, I'll take down the chin like, man, I lost that, whatever. But the second fight, bullshit. I want to rematch with this guy. This guy goes on to fight like 4 more times and just gets knocked out like that fight. So now there's no point in rematching him because like he's just losing so much.
Yeah.
But I want to get my get back. The man in me is like, nah, you need to get your get back, but whatever. I get a call. How would you like to fight in Vegas, February? And I got this call in like December. So I was like, in 2 months? Like, yeah. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I'm negotiating on my end. Like, I was just going to fight normal on a regular card. But then I was like, do you have a venue? He's like, no, I'm working on a venue. I was like, all right. I'm connected in the casino industry. I know a lot of people. So I was like, you know what? Let me put you in contact with a few people. Maybe we can get a venue and we can get a good deal. And I said, and if we do, I want to be the main event. He said, no problem. So I put him in contact with my people at the Rio because the Rio, they're completely renovating and they're trying to like make it big now.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, they couldn't get a deal done. But he was like, you know what? Because you tried, he was like, and I know you really wanted that. I'm going to make you the main event. I was like, man, that's amazing. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from the WBF. Hey, we know you're main eventing. How would you like to fight for the WBF USA heavyweight title?
Let's
I'm
go.
like, what? I was like, I'm coming off of 2 losses. Like, they're like, listen, we watched the fights. We know who you are. Do you want to fight or not? I said, yes. What do you mean? Like, I don't care. Whoever you put me in there with, I don't care. I'll fight. Like, all right, deal. We'll find you an opponent. So they end up getting me this guy. He's like 5-0, 4-0, all knockouts. I was like, yeah, I'm excited, right? Like, I'm about to fight for a belt, and I'm coming off of 2 losses.
And a year of rehab.
And a 53 weeks, 54 weeks layoff, right? Because I fought like February 8th of 2024, and I fought February 22nd of 2025. So 54 weeks, right, of nothing, So I was like, let's do it. And I ended up losing 26 pounds for the fight. I came in at the fight 292. I was like 316 when I started.
Jeez.
Yeah, for real.
So we get the fight, and I don't talk shit. That's just not how I am when it comes to boxing, because I believe if you talk shit and you lose, you really took 2 L's.
Yeah.
I get embarrassed. You talk all that shit. You lost.
Negative 1,000 or.
So I don't do that. I just shake their hand and that's it. So we get to the weigh-in of the fight, and my opponent just, mind you, my opponent is very tiny. I didn't know this. He was listed at 6'1", about 240.
Yeah.
Which is not a tiny.
Yeah.
I get there, and he's probably about 5'10", like maybe 220. We get on the scales, and he was 217. His last fight was...
You're 290?
I was 292. He was 245 his last fight. So for some reason, he lost like 30 pounds for this fight, which is like the worst thing you could do, because I'm one of the biggest heavyweights in the division.
Yeah.
So we get on the scale, and we do the stare off, and, he's being pompous ass, and he doesn't want to shake my hand. The promoter's like, shake his hand, so he shakes my hand. We do the stare down, and that's it. So I thought. Then he just starts talking shit, Maybe he realized he couldn't get in my head.
Yeah.
And he just starts talking shit. And I'm going to knock you out. You're a bitch. I'm going to make you quit like your last opponent. Mind you, no one knew about what transpired in that last fight because I didn't tell anyone. Because I didn't want to make excuses,
Yeah,
I was like, listen, it is what it is. Like, sometimes it's adversity. You fight through adversity. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do my knee. It was like, you're done. So I didn't really tell anyone. My inner circle knew, and people who knew me, they knew. But I didn't go on social media or podcasts and go, I blew my knee out. I didn't want to make excuses. So he's talking all this shit. You're a bitch. I'm going to knock you out. And people are like, bro, he called you a bitch. What are you going to do? Like, most men, you call them a bitch.
Yeah.
They're going to kill you. They're going to fight you, right? I don't care when people call me that, because it's like, you got to show me I'm a bitch, right?
Yeah.
We're going to fight tomorrow, so we'll see what you're about. And I just give my thumbs up like that, and I just walk away. We get to the fight, and long story short, I knock him out in the second round and win the belt.
Yeah. Well, and so what I wanted to get into, because I know we only got a couple minutes left, because you have an upcoming fight. So now, because it got switched. So originally you were going to be doing May 31st, and now it's June 20 or 21st.
Yeah.
June 21st at T-Mobile Arena. We've been working together to help find some communities that we can support, like Hope for the City, Hope for Children. Obviously, this guy gets sponsors all the time, but what we're trying to do is just figure out how we can collaborate better for Vegas. That I can jump in and help him out with anything that he's got going on. But what's some of the messaging that you want to put out there for and any of your adversity that you've overcome, how you want to help others through those challenges, and then for our Vegas sponsors that are coming in, I know that there's kind of a vetting process that they're going through right now where they got to make sure that,
Yes.
talk on a little bit about that.
So, just touch base on what you said about giving back, right? So obviously you guys heard my story. You know what I went through, what I endured. I'm very passionate about helping kids who grew up how I did. Because at the end of the day, the situation that they're in, they have no control over, right? Whether they're homeless or they're not being fed or, just whatever it is that they're dealing with, they're in that situation because of their parents, guardians, or whoever it is, that they're living with for making the decisions they made. Now they're dragging the kids into it. What I went through, I had no say in that. My mother did drugs. She was an alcoholic. She was abusive. I had no control of what I lived. I made the best of it, of course. And that's how I feel for these kids. So my thing is, when I was growing up, mental health wasn't talked about. It wasn't prevalent. No one cared. Oh, you're a man. Suck it up. Deal with it. But now, mental health is huge. Everyone talks about it. So my thing is, when I grew up, I never had someone I could look to and go, hey, man, he went through what I went through. Whether it was worse, maybe it was a better situation, but he still struggled and got to where he's at. I didn't have that. So my goal is I want to be that beacon of hope, the light at the end of the tunnel for kids who grew up how I did. So they go, hey, man, if he can get through it, why can't I?
All right.
So if I can be an inspiration, a role model, just whatever the case may be for these kids, because you have to think these are our future politicians, our future lawyers, our future doctors, our future governors, like
future
knows?
heavyweights, maybe.
You don't know what they're going to do, but here's the thing: the environment that they're in, they're teetering on a line of a life of crime, drugs, homelessness, ultimately death, or they make that one choice, they have that one person who helps them, and they live a life of fulfillment. They get their education. They make a difference in their environment.
Mhm.
They make a difference in the world. You just never know. So I would love to do that. And that's how we met, because I went to the charity event for Hope for the City. So I'm going to be partnering with them because Mike, who, he runs the foundation, he heard my story and he believes that my testimony is huge. And I believe so too. I believe that me speaking about what I endured, because I'm an open book, I'll never shy away from what I went through because it made me who I am today. I want to help kids. I want to help them get away from the life that they're going through and just, like I said, be a beacon of hope at the light at the end of the tunnel. So they know, like, hey, even though you went through whatever you went through, that doesn't define who you are. You define who you are. Who cares if people are telling you you can't do it, you can't make it? Who cares what the statistics say? I defied all of that. Why can't you? And again, playing on what I said earlier, I understand it was a lot easier for me being, a college educated white guy. They're not going to be afforded the same opportunities. And that's why I'm even more passionate, because some of the situations I was in, if they find themselves in that same situation, more than likely it's not going to be the same outcome. So if I can help them avoid that situation, tell them, hey, look, if you get pulled over, for instance, keep your hands on the steering wheel, speak to the officer with respect. Yes, sir, no, sir. Comply with everything they say. And, in a perfect world, hopefully everything goes well. Sometimes it doesn't. But I would love to be a spokesperson for kids like that, for kids going through anything, we'll tag my social media. Obviously, you can always send me a message. I have messages from so many people, because they know my story, because I did another podcast years ago, and like I said, I'm very passionate about it because I didn't have anyone like that growing up. I had the guy Jake, but he was just more so a mentor for sports. I want to be a mentor for education, sports, spiritually, emotionally.
Well, and that's why I commend you too, because like even for your fight coming up, it's going to be a major pay-per-view event on June 21st. We were already talking about how we want to get a portion of the money, because he's already got a ton of sponsors that are coming into it, but a portion of the money, he's trying to fit in local Vegas businesses, especially just because obviously it's a fantastic place that he's come to love and grew up in. So focusing on a few more sponsors that come in and putting a piece of that money to helping the community and giving back. So those are just some of the things that we discussed on that.
Yeah. So I talked to Johnny. He's part of Hope for the City as well. And we discussed, or maybe it was you. I've been talking to you both so much. I'm going to donate a portion of whatever I make from sponsors directly to Hope for the City. I'm going to give 10%, essentially my tithes, correct? to Hope for the City to help the kids, right? So whatever I bring in, whatever we generate revenue wise, it's going to go to a good cause as well. And this is not going to be a one-time thing. This is something, like I said, I'm passionate about. Shout out to my barber Eddie. He's the one who introduced me to the nonprofit, which allowed me to meet you, and now I'm here. So anything that I generate from sponsorships, I'm going to give 10% directly as a donation to the nonprofit. Then I'm going to go out here and take care of business.
Let's
just
go.
keep building my career and look forward to any and everything that comes my way, man.
Let's go.
Stay tuned. June 21st, T-Mobile Arena. You'll be fighting on Tank's card.
Yeah, Gervonta Davis undercard. Still working on the minor details. Obviously, that's 8 weeks away. Still working on the opponent and stuff. But this is boxing, very fickle sport, as you've learned.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Right? It's you could be scared to do one thing and then they'll change it on you. It's boxing is, I love the sport. I love it so much, but that is what it is. I'm making the best of it, and I'm going to continue to make the best of it. And whatever doors God continues to open for me, I'm going to step through them with faith, and
Yes, sir.
we'll see what comes from it, man.
Amen, brother. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Let's go.
We'll have some ads on here, and thank you again to Pathfinder Productions, man.
Let's go.
Appreciate you.
Peace.